my god. This is so fun.
Oh yeah, I'm having a blast on this one.
Hi. All right. Let's continue with Lorne's prison letter that he started on Valentine's Day. We left off with Lorne asking if Mom had taken pictures of Bud and Sadie. I tried calling you a couple more times. I just remembered you said something about 2 free nights at a hotel someplace. So I figure that must be where you're at now. It's 7:30 p.m. right now, and normally you'd be home. That's the only place I can think that you are, unless you found a man and are being a slut for a night. Ha ha. I have a bit of an issue picturing that, but thought I'd create a smile from you with it. I don't even know what to say about that. He obviously doesn't have that much of an issue picturing it, or he wouldn't have even brought it up. My opinion, I think Lorne has no problem picturing that. I think there's inappropriate relationship. I don't know if that's reciprocated, but I would not be surprised if Lorne thought about his mom that way. That's not a nice thing to say, I realize, but Lorne's a piece of shit. I mean, he has no respect for anyone, as we're going to see further along in this video here. Lorne also wrote some Bible quotes. We'll get to that in a minute. I'll try calling you again tomorrow. If I don't get you, then I'll try again until I do. Oh, boy, we know that. He's not going to give up. He probably left his mom 100 voicemails over the weekend. Where the fuck are you? I'm reading more of the Bible until I do. And Lorne wrote two quotes in the margin here from his Bible reading. And I realized why Lorne is reading the Bible for the same reason he does anything. He's trying to justify himself and his situation. The first one is Galatians 5:4, and I'm not trying to turn this into like a 700 Club kind of thing here. I just thought it was interesting, the quotes that he referenced. You who are trying to be justified by the law have been severed from Christ. You have fallen away from grace. And I read that as, you pizzas of shit that put me in jail, God's going to get you. God's going to get you because you're trying to justify what you're doing. The other one, and I had it here a minute ago. Where did you go? We're just going to have to look it up again. It's also Galatians, and it's 6, where were we? 6:8. Let's see. This one I had a little more trouble. I can see how it pertains to Lorne, but I don't think how he would understand how it pertains to him. Whoever sows to please their flesh, from the flesh will reap destruction. Whoever sows to please the Spirit, from the Spirit will reap eternal life. Now, I understand what that means in relation, at least I think I do. I'm a moderately intelligent individual. It basically means when you do things to please your basest instincts, that's going to be your downfall. Lorne. I don't know why he referenced that though. That's unusual because he doesn't have that self-perception. He can't look at himself in that way, as we're going to see a little further on when he really starts pissing me off. I'm spending my morning, it's Saturday morning at 9. I just tried to call you again and got no answer still. I'm assuming that you must be at that hotel you were telling me about. I hope you're having fun. He doesn't. I'm spending my morning reading the Bible again and trying to decide if I want to go to recreation time or not. It looks like it's nice out, but I don't want any losers trying to walk around with me or talk to me. I enjoy spending my time alone when I'm out there because it helps to clear my head and keep my sanity. It's not all that bad in here, really. It's just a pain in the ass being around so many dumb. And here he uses a word that I don't use in my personal life. I don't know many people that do. So I find it a little shocking. Maybe I'm naive. It's a pejorative term for people of another race. Some white blank as well. The immaturity level is high, but that's another reason I keep to myself a lot. Yeah, the immaturity level. It's very mature to call your mother a slut and talk shit about people based on their race. That's very mature. I hope, I'm glad he's there actually to be a good role model to the other prisoners. And see, here's one of my biggest problems with Lorne. I mean, he's got a lot of problems, obviously. My biggest problem with him, don't take this the wrong way, please. My biggest problem with him is not that he tried to rape a kid. And the reason for that is he's too stupid to be able to do it. And I think he's too cowardly. I don't think. Now, I'm going to take that back. I think there is the possibility that because we do know that he's victimized real girls online. And I believe that he's victimized either relatives or friends of relatives. But my biggest problem with him is what creates all these other problems, and that's why I find this one to be his biggest problem in my mind. If he didn't have this problem, he wouldn't have all these other problems. The hebephilia, the alcoholism, and it's his self-delusion. He has such a big ego, and the greatest description I think of Lorne that I've heard is, he's a loser who thinks he's a winner. He cannot look at himself with the truthful eye of self-perception. He can't see there's a reason why he's in prison. He can't understand why. I think by this point he really is in full-on delusion that he never even meant to do it, that he, his truck drove him to the Sting house, that he never even wanted to go. All the other people there deserve to be there, but he doesn't. And it's just like with his rape class, he feels disgusted listening to these other men talk about their crimes, but he can't relate that to his own life, that he can't look around him and go, I'm in here with all these other people that have done these horrible things. Why is that? Could it be because I've done a horrible thing? I'm not perfect. I've done things in my life that I'm not proud of. I certainly wouldn't want put on the internet. But I can guarantee you if I hadn't already dealt with those issues, which I try to always better myself as a person, that would have been a cue for me to do so then. And the fact, I could go on all day about it, just the fact that he made a YouTube channel thinking he has fans, he doesn't understand infamy. And I don't mean to get off on a tangent, but his use of this word just triggered something in me. I find it so. And then he talks about other people being immature, and it just blows my mind. I'll be quite busy when I get to where I'm going because of the class I have to take. Plus, I'm going to take other courses so that I can get more good time. With all of that, plus working, plus my books, I'll remain quite busy, so the time will go by quite fast. I guess I'm going to go outside for rec. I'll write more later, then mail this out tomorrow morning. Sunday, 8:30 p.m. Hi, Mother dear. I'm not going to write much tonight, other than I'm going to bed and I'll write more tomorrow. I just found out that tomorrow's a holiday and there's no mail, so it'll give me more time to write another page or so. Good night for now. Hi again, it's Monday, 7:30 p.m. I just talked to you a while ago. I hated calling you that second time, but I wanted to know if you had sent my book out to me and wanted to know about Bud and Sadie, and also wanted to have you send me a guitar beginner's book. I hated calling you that second time, but I wanted to know about these unimportant things. You didn't hate it that much, and I can guarantee there were a lot of collect calls charged to his mother. And what a waste of time that guitar beginner's book was. We'll get to that in a minute. I figure if I have the chance and time to learn to play the guitar, then I want to start from scratch and learn to read the music instead of only being limited to playing some chords like Dad did. He was just too lazy to learn to play by reading the music. And now he's going to put his father down. Lorne doesn't have a very good... He has a huge ego, but deep inside he has an inferiority complex. And that comes from his parents, I believe. But let's get to his guitar playing. Lorne should have... I mean, he took some of that time to learn to play guitar. But I am not a professional musician. I do not play the guitar. I do play some musical instruments. A nerd. Orchestral instruments. You know, I don't have a band. I don't play in a band that looks and sounds like the Beatles or anything. I'm not a master of the guitar. However, I have a pretty decent ear. And I'm not talking about his singing. His singing is terrible, we all know. But his playing is so robotic and unpleasant. It adds an additional element of unlistenability when he plays. He should have spent his time learning, really learning to play. And I don't believe he ever learned to read music. He learned to play some chords. And yeah, I'll give him credit for that. It's not everyone can learn to play music. And I'd give him more credit if he did it more as a hobby, but Lorne really believes people are going to buy his music, and it's laughable. Anyway, well, shit. You may as well just wait to send my book and the guitar book until I get to where I'm going. So I bothered you for nothing, basically, Mom. I'm also going to have you send my Spanish words to me and maybe get me a Spanish 1 and Spanish 2 learning book and a book on either karate or Tai Chi. He spelled it Tiechi. It's pronounced Tichy with a long I, and he spelled that Tichy. I'd rather have a Tai Chi, Tiechi, learning book. I have this vision. Again, I'm going to ask someone to do something that I cannot do. Learn practicing Tai Chi. There's this beautiful vision in my mind of Lorne like on a hilltop practicing Tichy. If someone could create that for me, I'd be ever so grateful. I'm going to see what I can find when I get to where I'm going before I have you send me any martial arts books, I think. Lorne, I have an idea for a whole nother series based on Lorne doing martial arts. I have a lot of ambition, but not a lot of talent. This is going to be a challenge. Excuse me. I'm going to learn everything I can while I'm in this situation. What's that situation, Lorne? I don't want this time in my life being wasted like so many people in this situation let happen. So I'm going to stay as busy as I possibly can for the time I have to be in here. I figure between typing my books, working, taking the class I have to take, and the ones I want to take, learning to play the guitar, learning a martial art, and learning to speak more Spanish, I should be able to stay quite busy, and the time will go by a lot faster. Lorne has a lot of plans. If he continued with learning all those things, he would have been a Renaissance man when he came out. I'm happy I have a good head start on learning Spanish. It will be a lot easier to learn the rest. I've heard your Spanish, Lorne. Not great. I know you don't like talking about what led me into being in this situation. Now we're getting to some good stuff. I don't like talking about it anymore either, or ever. You never wanted to talk about it. You just want to forget it. It was 10 years ago, 12 years now. It just frustrates me to have somebody even partially consider what they did being justified when it wasn't. It's simple. How so, Lorne? Tell me how it's simple. They play me on my emotions, and that's how they got me to go to the house. Well, yeah, that's what they did to everyone. Just because you're emotional or you're having a bad time in your life doesn't mean you're allowed to do whatever you want. And again, that's just Lorne's delusions that everyone knows what he's going through and should give him, he's basically said they knew I was vulnerable. How the fuck would they know you were vulnerable, dude? And by the way, it doesn't justify what you did. You can't murder someone because they make you sad. You can't rob a bank because you need money. What the fuck planet do you live on? They're the ones that had to plant everything in my head. I'm reading this as I go, so I don't even have words right now. They knew I wasn't able to think straight and could be talked into almost anything short of murder. How? I'm confused. How did they know you couldn't think straight? Because you talked about your dumb brothers and sister? And I think he really believes, based on my own past experiences in life and things that I've had to go through, there have been times in my life where, and on a much smaller scale, where I went through something really difficult and I could not understand why, like, for instance, people at work would, I would just be stressed out and I would think to myself, don't they understand what I'm going through right now? Why can't they ease off? Why can't they? No, they don't understand what you're going through. And by the way, everybody's got their own shit that they're going through. Basically, somebody made me feel like they gave a shit. And I hadn't felt that in a long, long time. And that's how they got me to go there. So basically, someone made you feel like they gave a shit. Within 45 minutes, you were pulling your dick out. And that's how they got you to go there. So I'm just really confused. And I know for years people have tried to get him to understand exactly what the fuck he's saying. And maybe to delve a little deeper into these statements that he's made. And we're never going to get a real explanation of that. I knew it was wrong the whole time, but I just couldn't see past, P-A-S-S-E-D, past the way they were making me feel and the guilt trips. Yeah, those guilt trips. I've covered a couple of those in my chat log reading. Yeah, I know. Thank you. I've covered those a little bit in my chat log reading, the guilt trips. I don't see it. And by the way, if I said, Lord, I'm really sad. I wish someone would make me feel better. So-and-so made me feel sad. I would feel so much better if someone would murder them. I guess you don't like me enough not to murder them. I mean, what does that mean at guilt trips? The only thing I've seen so far, as far as a guilt trip, which doesn't justify it at all, is at one point, the time when Lorne says, quote unquote, no, that he doesn't want to go to jail. He doesn't say no. He says he doesn't want to go to jail. Kayla says, well, I guess you can't talk to me anymore. That was it. That is why there is nobody that will ever convince me that they were right. There's also nobody that's going to talk me out of doing my book, because now I know for a fact people want to know the other side of the story, and also nobody will talk me out of taking them to court and suing them for entrapment, criminal conspiracy, and criminal solicitation. We all know how that worked out. But I'm a little intrigued. A book about his side of the story. Now, it would probably be like a comic book. He'd draw pictures. I would be interested in seeing that book. I wouldn't buy it. But I would be interested if he had written that book. Entrapment, criminal conspiracy, and criminal solicitation. Yeah, they solicited you. They forced you to pull your genitals out and stick the cam on it. I'm the one whose name and life has been messed up because of these corrupt, money-hungry, sick assholes, and I'm the one that's going to fight to get honest justice every way I possibly can. Now that I'm almost at the end of this paper, I'll end this letter here, even though I feel like writing more, though not about my situation, but only to write more to you. Guess I'll have to read more in the Bible until the last head count at 8:30. I love you, Lorne. Too bad those Bible readings didn't help him at all. Feel free to believe whatever you want. I read a lot of different religious literature, and I think there's something to be gained from every spiritual practice. I'm not going to get into all that crap either. I'm just saying, what could it possibly hurt Lorne to read the Bible? In fact, most people in that situation, it would probably give them some hope and some insight. I think we're going to finish that there. There's still more of this. We're getting into page 7. And I'll finish that at another time. I just wanted to kind of bang this out a little bit. I hope that somebody's enjoying this. That makes me happy to share my... This is so stupid, but it makes me happy to share my love of this crap with another person or people. And just to have a sense of community about someone so despicable. If you have any thoughts on what I'm doing well or what I can improve, feel free to pass those on to me. I take criticism moderately well. That's all for now. Bye, sweethearts.